Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this online service of Quimper Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, a loving, spirited, and ever more inclusive community. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, whomever you love, and whatever your faith tradition, you are welcome here. My name is Mo, and I am a youth here at QUUF. I'd like to begin this service by acknowledging that the water, land, and shorelines here in Port Townsend are the traditional territory of the S'Klallam and Chemakum peoples. We honor and acknowledge our indigenous members and neighbors and vow to help restore and sustain their homelands. In this moment, we'll light the chalice. But first, let us settle our minds and calm our hearts with the ringing of our chime. Of the Foothills Unitarian Church in Fort Collins, Colorado, who will sing our call to community, hymn number 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are.
Thank you, Foothills Unitarian Choir. It is now time for our chalice lighting ritual. Please join me and Indigo. This chalice lighting, A Flame to Light Our Path, is by Deborah Hammond. Fire consumes and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets from the past, our fears of the future, and worries about tomorrow. May it light for us a path of joy and peace. Our opening words are by Marilyn Sewell. Come into this circle of love and justice. Come into this community where we can dream and believe in those dreams. Come into this holy space where we remember who we are and how we want to live. Come now and let us worship together. I'd now like to welcome Bo, who will share our time for all ages.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Youth Sunday. I am so excited to get to hear from our teens with you today as they are exploring the idea of radical inclusivity and widening the circle. And this theme also reminded Shaggington and I of a story about one dinosaur whose ballet school learned how to be inclusive. So this is Bronterina by James Howe and illustrated by Randy Cecil. Bronterina had a dream of being a ballerina. But you are a dinosaur, Madame Lucille pointed out. True, Bronterina replied, but in my heart I am a ballerina. Madame Lucille wondered what to do. She had never had a dinosaur as a student before. Dinosaurs were rather large, and this one certainly did not have the right shoes. But then she felt Clara and Jack tugging at her skirt. Oh, please, they pleaded. Madame Lucille looked into the dinosaur's eyes. What is your name, my dear? Bronterina. Bronterina apatosaurus. I even sound like a dancer, don't you agree? Madame Lucille agreed. How could she not? Welcome to Madame Lucille's Dance Academy, she said. Please try not to squash the other dancers. Music, Magnolia, she commanded the piano player. And as Magnolia began to play, Madame Lucille turned her commands to her students. Plié, réveillé, arabesque, jeté. What a graceful dancer you are, my dear, Madame Lucille exclaimed, and Bronterina blushed. On the outside, I'm a dinosaur, but in my heart, you are a ballerina, cried Clara and Jack. In the weeks that followed, Bronterina tried to fit in, but her talent was outsized. Oh, Bronterina, cried Madame Lucille, I'm afraid you are too big to be a ballerina. You barely fit in my studio, and how in the world will another dancer ever lift you over their head? I can do it, Jack shouted. No, my dear, said Madame Lucille with a sigh. You could not. A tear fell from Bronterina's eye, and downcast she turned to leave. Wait, Clara called out. Don't go. My mother has been working on a surprise for you all week. Bronterina, she is bringing it today. Whatever are you talking about? Madame Lucille asked Clara. Just then Clara's mother appeared at the door. You must be Bronterina, she said, holding out the surprise. I hope these will fit. Bronterina beamed. They fit perfectly, she cried. I am a ballerina, or I would be if only I weren't so big. Oh, fiddlesticks, said Madame Lucille. Why didn't I see it before? The problem is not that you are too big. The problem is that my studio is too small. And so the whole class went off to look for a studio big enough to hold all of Bronterina's talent. They looked high and low, and finally, Madame Lucille's Dance Academy had room for everyone. And it all began with a dream.
Thank you, Bo. What we'd like to do now is acknowledge and welcome those of us who are visiting this morning. You're invited to say hello in the comment section and tell us your name and where you're from. The chat section can be found below or on the right side of the screen when it's out of full screen. And we'd like to hear from you. We also hope that you'll join us at the virtual coffee hour in our Fellowship Hall Zoom room. If you don't have that link, it will be posted in the chat section at the end of the service. If you find this service useful or inspirational, hopefully both, please share the link with your friends and your family. So welcome, everyone. We're glad you're with us today. We will now receive the offering. Today, our collection goes towards the building, program, and the staffing costs of QUUF. If you'd like to donate today, you have 3 options. Text the amount you'd like to give to the number now showing at the bottom of the screen. Go to our website, QUF.org, or click the giving link, or simply mail a check to QUF. Just remember to put the name of the organization in the memo line. We will now gratefully receive your offering as we listen to Saro Lynch sing her beautiful song, More Waters Rising.
There are more waters rising, this I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know. There are more waters rising, they will find their way to me. There are more waters rising. this I know, this I know. There are more waters rising, this I know. There are more fires burning, this I know, this I know. There are more fires burning, this I know. There are more fires burning, they will find their way to me. There are more fires burning, this I know, this I know. There are more fires burning, this I know. There are more mountains falling, this I know, this I know. There are more mountains falling, this I know. There are more mountains falling, they will find their way to me. There are more mountains falling, this I know, this I know. There are more mountains falling, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know. I will wade through the waters when they find their way to me. I will wade through the waters, this I know, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know. I will walk through the fires, this I know, this I know. I will walk through the fires, this I know. I will walk through the fires when they find their way to me. I will walk through the fires, this I know, this I know. I will walk through the fires, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains when they find their way to me. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know, this I know. I will rebuild the mountains, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know. I will wade through the waters when they find their way to me. I will wade through the waters, this I know, this I know. I will wade through the waters, this I know.
Thank you, Saro. We will now share our joys and sorrows, recognizing that our personal joys and sorrows are only a fragment of the joys and sorrows of the larger community of life. And thus, we place this first stone, thinking in particular of our classmate and her family, the Simmons-Reimnitz family, and the recent loss of their son. And now, within the congregation, we light this candle for Susan Britton, who has been honored as the 2022 recipient for the Tall Ships Lifetime Achievement Award, the Oscars of Tall Ships. Congratulations, Susan. We have quite a few birthdays to celebrate today. First, we light a candle for Deborah Hammond, whose birthday was on Valentine's Day, which seems fitting for such a loving person. Four members share the same birthday this past Tuesday. I shared them in alphabetical order. Sharon Dudley, new member Linda Jangard, Susan Sawatsky, and Karen Wamstad. David Alvarez's birthday was on Wednesday. And Ann Weaver and Marcus Murphy share a birthday tomorrow, February 21st. Happy birthday, Deb, Sharon, Linda, Susan, Karen, David, Ann, and Marcus. And now we place a final stone, holding in our hearts the joys and sorrows I've just shared, but also thinking of such joys and sorrows among us that are unexpressed but of no less importance. I invite you now into a moment of silence.
For my reading today, I reflected on the theme of widening the circle and my own theology. I liked this exploration of humanism by Michael Werner. For all the talk about reason and science, humanism is really about a passionate love affair. It is a love affair with life, not a mystical hereafter. Humanism is a love affair with a progressive version of civilization in which each of us can add our growing library of wisdom and evolving knowledge of what there is and what is truly important. None of the great achievements in history would have been possible without a love of adventure and learning and adventure of creating a better life. Our great cultural achievements in science, art, music, literature, philosophy, history, psychology, and political thought all inform each other of what has been born of a long humanist tradition. Humanism is a devotion to humanity and the biosphere that humanity is part of. It is our passionate commitment to the best ideals that are supported by experience, science, civilization, and what they have taught us. Humanism is larger than any of us. We have a duty to continue humanism's evolving tradition, which has inspired countless individuals to make the world better. At the same time, it motivates us to fill our lives with transcendent purpose for a meaningful, exuberant existence that makes life worth living.
This is a poem about creating an inclusive world by Ryan Lee. Everyone in this world is different, react differently to smell, taste, and sound. We are all unique. It's what makes the world go round. Still, some of us are very particular of who they invite into their group. When someone messes up for the first time, they really get thrown for a loop. First impressions can be hard. There's more than meets the eye. Nobody's perfect at them, and yet neither am I. Even if they're loud or excited, it's not like they committed a crime. They want to make friends and have fun, still give it some time. We don't want to wear a mask, even if others expect us to satisfy. It's hard to be yourself when expectations are really high. Try to work with them, regardless of what others complain or say. Offer a helping hand, it can really go a long way. Never judge someone on the outside, still give them the opportunity. They still might need a friend. We're building an inclusive community. For our special music today, Mo Wolf will play for us J.S.Bach's Prelude in C from Book 1 of the well-tempered clavier.
There is no doubt that these last few years have been trying times for all of us. From dealing with a deadly global pandemic, to racial injustice, to climate change, and to political unrest, there has been a lot of stress put on the world and on us. Many of us were isolated in our homes for months. Still, we continue to wear masks, and many normal activities have not resumed to normal. People have lost their friends and connections, and life does not seem to be returning to normal. But instead of giving up hope, many of us have used this opportunity to come together, to make more connections, and to lift each other up with support, not just in this community, but all across the world. Now, how exactly do we go about expanding our circle and supporting people? It can be very overwhelming to even know how to start. But being radically inclusive and supportive to all people is essential to the health of society and every community. This year, I have had the privilege of creating the Spectrum Alliance at the high school here in Port Townsend. This is a club for LGBT+ students to gather once a week, meet new people, and connect with each other. I did this for my senior project, but far from just being an assignment, it has been so rewarding, not just to the people in our club, but to every single student at the high school. We now have pronoun pins at our school, and we have a system where students can have their preferred name put into the school system. Even though these may seem to be little things to the most of us, they are extremely important to our community. It makes queer people feel like they have a place where they are accepted and known. The thing about radical inclusivity is that it is actively inclusive. Even if you are not intentionally and directly hurting someone or being discriminatory, sometimes ignoring them can be just as harmful. If we were to ignore all the realities of the people of the LGBT community at school and not have pronoun pins and resources for them, then they would not feel supported, even if there was no direct hate being told to them. That is why radical inclusivity goes so much more than just expecting people to come to you or to figure things out on their own. It really makes people feel like they have a place in the world and they are being accepted and loved. When I go out into my daily activities in the world, I don't find that people invite me into their circle. I usually feel like I have to push myself in there, and I see that a lot of people struggle with the same thing. A lot of people don't feel comfortable pushing themselves into situations where they don't know if they're going to be accepted or not. And this can be extremely hard on some people's mental health. I'm sure this can be a lot to take in, and it can be hard to understand how to be radically inclusive. I didn't first hear of that word until I attended my first UU YouthCon, a weekend gathering of UU high school-age youth from Washington and surrounding states. Pre-pandemic, we would gather twice a year at a forested Camp Cispus in central Washington to do workshops, have worship, play games, and connect with other youth from the region. This is honestly one of the only places where I feel like there is true happiness and acceptance in the world. It was so amazing to see how people came together with so little conflict. At Con, we had this thing called the Robbie Rule. What this means is, let's say, for example, you're standing in a circle with a group of people. You should always leave one space for someone extra to join in. So new people walking by feels like they have a space to be welcomed and no one feels excluded. Now, this is an amazing rule and it works super good for people who are extroverted and enjoy going up and meeting new people, but for a lot of people it can be very intimidating to go into a new group by yourself. This is where the Robbie rule comes in. Instead of just leaving a space for someone to come to enter on their own, you should actively invite them into your circle. If you see anyone around looking like they want to join in or like they are on their own, you should ask them. Let them know that you want them to be there. The difference between wanting someone to join and letting them join can change a person's experience. This is what I think we should be doing in our community and in the greater world. Radical inclusivity does not need to be so obvious either. A lot of times in your life, you will not just happen to be in a circle of people and have a bystander that you invite into the circle. I think the most effective way to be radically inclusive is just not to invite one person, but everyone. There's one caveat to this, of course. You invite everyone who will be respectful to others and not cause harm. Radical inclusivity means that everyone is inclusive in the way they talk and treat others. Letting people know that you're a safe person to be around and will be accepting can really have a strong impact on a person's whole life. Another good technique to practice is preemptive radical inclusion. This means we choose to operate from the assumption that everyone is already in the room as we lead. It is preemptive because we don't wait for someone to tell us that they are or need XYZ before we start talking, having their presence impact how we think, speak, and act. It is radical because we make the radical decision that X, Y, and Z are already a part of our definition and perspective of who we are. We doesn't mean people who just look, think, and act like me. When we practice preemptive radical inclusion, we don't wait for people to self-disclose about their identities or experience before we decide how to include them. We choose not to make assumptions based on our expectations or observations. This is extremely important in a community because it makes your community and circle inherently inclusive, and ideally, people don't get left out or excluded. If we want to make new connections with others and have a strong community, it is vital that in our everyday life, we practice radical inclusivity, even when we least expect to. You may never know the person that you're talking to, their identities, their pasts, or what they have gone through, And the way that you approach even that one person may have an impact on their entire life. When we include and accept everyone as they are, the circle will naturally open for others. And as your genuine connection with other people will widen, this is how we not only build a better connection and relationship with others, but how we build a better life and world for everyone. Our closing song today is by King B.A.V., sung by Amanda Hummingbird. It is called "We Are Rising Up Like a Phoenix from the Fire."
We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up like a phoenix on the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix on the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly higher. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are opening. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up like a phoenix on the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up like a phoenix on the fire. Brothers and sisters, spread your wings and fly higher. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up. We are rising up.
Thank you, Amanda. Our closing words are by Harold E. Babcock. And now, may we go forth, in the certainty of faith, in the knowledge of love, and in the vision of hope. And in our going, may we be blessed with all good things on this day, and forevermore. Amen. Please join us in our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, the fire of commitment, or the power of transformation. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. After the service, I hope you'll join us for our virtual coffee hour. What you can expect is to be placed in a Zoom room with one of our coffee hour hosts, who will facilitate personal check-ins as well as reflection questions on the sermon topic. I hope to see you there. But first, let us join Dr. Glen Thomas Rideout and Allison Halerz as they sing our Postlude, hymn number 1023, Building Bridges.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, sisters, we can make such sweet harmony.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you,
Bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. With all of our voices and all of our visions, with all of our voices and all of our visions, sisters, we can make such sweet harmony.
Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you,
I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Sisters, we can make such. Sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Sisters, we can make such sweet harmony.
Sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Sisters, we can make such sweet harmony.
Sisters, we can make such sweet harmony. Sisters, we can make such sweet harmony.